Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I am so glad to be here with you today, me and all the wonderful overhead noise we've got going on. But the good news is they're like 5 steps away from getting the decking done on the overhang right outside these windows. The roofer, if we get an inspection on Thursday, which would be tomorrow, the roofer is ready to start on Monday, so things are progressing. Hey, Philippa. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Sue. So glad to see you guys today. And let's see, a little bit of housekeeping first. If the noise gets to be too much, just somebody type in the comments noise or too loud or something, and I will do the background music for a while, but hopefully it won't be too bad. And I need to finish about 5 to 7 minutes early, so I have time to take a quick bathroom break and get some water because I have another meeting at the top of the hour. So we will switch the cameras around and see how much I can get done while I am here, because I have a plan for the plan now. This is what I'm going to be working on today. And I finally decided I am going to finish it as a 3D sculptural piece. Oops, let's see. Hey, Julie, how are you doing today? Yeah, a plan. I know, shocking, right? I actually have a plan at the finish line for a lot of pieces now, so that's good. I'm hoping this is going to last for me, but I don't know. For some reason, this hoop in this stand does not, I don't know, something, it just keeps sliding, and I really want to have it in the stand for this. Hey, Wendy. And I don't have any more of I have more of this fabric to finish it off, but not enough to put it in a larger hoop, which is what it really needs. So, we're making do with what we've got. So the plan is this: more beads, and also I'm coming out as far as I can on this existing fabric with more of this. No, it's the hoop can't get tight enough. It needs to be a little, I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. This is what I have. Hello, Suzanne is new here from South Australia. I am so glad to have you with us. Boy, it's very early for you. Margaret and some of our other Australia friends don't often make it over here, although Philippa is here from New Zealand, and it's even earlier for her. So thank you. Happy to have you here with us. Let us know what kind of work you like to do. And yeah, see, this thing is just gonna, I think the problem is maybe that the hoop holder can't get a good thing. Hey, Peg, how are you doing today? My gosh, haven't seen you in ages. I hope you are doing well and doing lots of creative things. Yeah, Australia to South Africa to New Zealand to the US. Julie, where are you located? Are you in the US or are you someplace else? Julia sometimes comes in here from Turkey. All right, so I think the easiest thing to do while it's in the stand is the couching down of this. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. And then you are moved, and oh my goodness. Hey, Phyllis the Lurker. I love it. Phyllis, I'm going to get you a special sticker that says Lurker. You're still setting up. Oh my goodness. Julie's in Montana. I just love that we have people from all over. Okay, here's my methodology for couching on this. Let's see if I can get any more in frame without going off the end of the desk. And, this is just some wonderful wool. Looks like some coarse spun wool that a friend gave me. And I'm just literally plunking it down because the plan for this, when it's all done, which is going to be soon. Hey, Terry. Terry's taking a break from working really hard. She's getting ready to go to her big blues festival event in a couple of weeks. So I know you are busy making inventory for that. So I'm going to come out probably to the edge of the hoop. I might take it off and do a little bit more, but probably not, with as much of this as I can. I'm going to add more beads everywhere, and then I'm going to gather it. Thank you, Wendy. Gather it up and sculpt it into something 3D so that it looks like it's something that's come out of the ground. Because to me, this looks like it could be when you turn the soil over, you get that wonderful sparkly look, like something that's, you know, still a little bit wet. So my way of couching this down is literally just to gather it up, and I'm not doing any rhyme or reason. I literally just want the texture of that, because I'm sure somewhere in my stash of fibers, I've got something that when it's, before I close it up on the bottom, I can pull, if I have anything even close, okay, even just a little thread will show you, pull little tendrils out so that it'll look like the roots and things. So those of you that don't know, this is all part of my getting ready for my very first open studios, which is happening this October. So I am building up as much inventory as I can, because of course I'm hoping people are going to come and go shopping. And this is my reminder, I need tweezers. My reminder that those of you that are on my mailing list will get a preview. Sorry, a little bit of something that I really don't want in there. And an opportunity to shop before the open studio opens, as long as I can keep the stuff on the wall to show off for the length of time. So that's the plan. So if you're not on my newsletter mailing list and you want to be, you can head over to my website and sign up. I'm also struggling with a bad sinus headache today that I've taken the edge off, but it is not going away, and it is very frustrating. Between the hammering outside and the hammering in my head, it's an adventure. So what is everybody working on today? Terry, what are you working on for your inventory for your event? Peg, what are you anxious to get back to first of all? Moving is just such a strain. And having construction going on in your house is also a strain. People are surprised that we're still living here while all this work is going on. But, you know, it's too expensive. Yeah, the pounding doesn't help. It's too expensive for us to be able to go live someplace for, you know, a few months while this is happening. So, but I tell you what, if the roofer can actually come on Monday, I don't know, I'm going to guess it might take a week to do the roof. Then the rest of the stuff that has to be done is not nearly as intense on the sides of the house and inside and things. Ooh, so you got your quilt done? Wendy says, my son is busy measuring binding for me for the repairs to the little man's quilt. You get all the repairs done, I hope? The overhangs out here look so great. I will be posting some photos on Facebook. I don't know, maybe I'll do a walk around the house on YouTube. I will be, if you saw last week's video on YouTube, it was about background fabrics. Tomorrow, the one that's going out is going to be about fibers. And then I think we will talk about needles. And we will talk about hoops and holders. And work our way through all the materials that we use when we're doing any kind of stitching, whether it is stitching like this, whether it is on a mixed media piece. Oh, I just love this fiber. This is great. Sue says I have to make a binding for a quilt too. So I'm hopeful that that I will soon have a whole series of all the things, you know, everything I know about Stitch so far. And of course, it's always evolving. Wendy said, I'm hunting for my quilt square. I'm working on, hunting for the quilt square I'm working on and can't find it. The quilt I'm repairing is about 15 years old and all the applique came off. I've attached hexie flowers to cover the damage. That's a good idea. When you need to cover damage, always add more texture, right? That would be my solution. Oops. between the extra threads that this wool yarn attracts, and then of course the little tally hairs, and then my gray hairs. Michelle said, I literally just put some fabric on a hoop before this live so I can start a new project. I'm thinking about stitching some 1-inch owls to add to other projects. Oh, that sounds fun. Another person that can do the small stuff. Every time I try to go small like this, it morphs into something huge. And it is what it is. We learn our strengths and weaknesses, right? And let's see. Yeah, to me, this sort of just looks like a pile of roots. So the temptation is often to over couch, which sounds like I'm going to want to do at the end of the day, right? Over couch, sit and kick back and be lazy. Although there's not going to be much of a chance to be lazy across these next few months. Okay, now I need some more. As I recall, some of this is really long and some of this, oh, that's why I did that. Just a second here. Let me come back over here. I forgot I moved it down because, there we go. Hey, Barbara. I'm distracted by an art workshop I'm taking. We'll watch the replay. Okay, well, have fun in your workshop and share in the group if you like about what you figured out in the workshop. Maybe you learned to do something new. All right, so this is going to be a long one. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to plop some of it down. And all I'm going to use as a guideline is the edge of the hoop. And I'll get this couch down. And then I can add lots of beads in there. I think by having more of this heavier stuff, I can add some of my larger beads tucked down in there. And then lots more small beads just so I get that stone effect is what I'm looking for. And then been trying to figure out how I want to display it. Figuring out how I can make something look literally like it's just coming up out of the dirt. If I had this on my other floor stand. Once we get the house put back in shape after this construction, I think I'm going to change my setup so that I can stitch on my floor stand, which is a lot sturdier. Barbara said it's Peggy Dean's Summer Creative Retreats, some 60 different workshops and artists. Whew. Oh, lots of Procreate, which I love. I need a new Apple Pencil, and then I've got to take some Procreate classes. Well, I don't got to, I want to. Yes, I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but over here, I really couched it really tight. I like this loose effect better. So I'll probably go back as I work my way around over that again. And this was another project that's been languishing for probably a couple years because I'm using mostly pearl cottons and embroidery floss, and it's not very textured. I mean, it's got texture, but it's not very vertical. So I can tell, it's one of my pieces where I was starting to figure things out. I can't wait to get the house put back together. Actually, I can't wait to have the house cleaned after all this stuff is done. In the kitchen, we have a couple of long overhead lights where we have like a faux screen, painted screen hiding the lights because they're long tube lights. And from all them walking on the roof and stuff, things have filtered down, and my husband had cleaned it out, vacuumed it all, got it all nice and shiny clean. And of course, that's just filled with junk again. Henny Penny, hello, are you new? Welcome. She said, when I first looked at it, it looked like a big bowl of texture. Yummy. It is very textural, but it's very different from, say, a Wildscape and the way I'm working on texture now. Well, not very different. It's kind of different. And it certainly has a lot of beads, which I don't consider myself a very good beader. as far as making beading decisions, but as far as beads go on this piece, I'm opting for more is more. More is more, and more will be better. All right, at least if I just get this sort of tacked down all the way around, I can kind of see what I'm working with. It might be. I wonder if this stuff, let's see, do I have a small piece of this over here? No. So it might be kind of nice if I could just unfurl. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do to come up with some roots, but I'll come up with something. Oops. Woohoo! They are at the last piece of decking out there. Oh my goodness. What a difference it makes. And maybe next week they'll start on the windows, which would be really nice. So I'm wondering, does anybody have any videos, as now that I'm back to making videos again, that they would like to see? I have ideas, but if there are things that people think that they would really like to see from me, I would like to offer those up. Yeah, so I think that's going to be good. That's going to be my dirt kind of thing. Let's make my knot. Nothing. We're going to have a quiet group today. All right, I'm dying to try something with the beads here. I'm wondering, I need thread and I need a beading needle. I had this other color brown, but I don't see much of it anywhere else. I think I'm going to leave it. Henny Penny said, I am not a new viewer. I watch your videos all the time. I love what you do. I've learned some new stitches too. Well, we are glad to have you joining us in the live, and thank you for watching the videos. Hey, this is 8 years today that I have been on YouTube. Boy, what an evolution that has been. Started with paper and kind of following what everybody else was doing, and dyeing and eco dyeing and the Etsy shop. And now that I have found my true love in stitch and fibers, that's kind of what I'll be focusing on going forward. But I can't believe it's been 8 years and over 23,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it when people go watch my back library. Yeah, 8 years is hard to believe. Thank you. Have learned a lot. I've learned what I want and don't want out of YouTube. So that's always kind of important. All right, so I have these bugle beads, and there are some in here, but I'm thinking in some places it might be neat to have them going upright, although I've never tried that before. So let's see if I'm any good at it. Let's come over here by these little drizzles. Philippa says, happy anniversary. Thank you. I don't even know if I know how to make them stay upright. If you just bring it down, I guess right next to it, does that work? No. Okay, so somebody who does more with beads maybe can tell me, and I should probably zoom in a little more if I'm doing beads. What do you do? Over here. Okay. If I want to make a bugle bead stand straight up, what do I have to do? If you stack 3 beads, come up, but okay, let's try that. Put a seed bead on top. Okay, let's see. Both of these ideas sound promising. Let's I like the idea of a seed bead on top. The top bead becomes your stop bead. Okay, here we go. We're going to do it again. I've got one of my little bugle beads. Okay. And then I go down just in the bugle bead, right? Let's see. This makes sense now. Okay, so that works with that, but now, whoops, using all these dark colors, those of you with older eyes like me know what it means when you can't quite see. There we go. All right, now let's try Sue's idea of stacking the beads so it gets taller, because I like that idea. Terry says, I've never done vertical with beads. Well, Julie and Sue just helped me out. So I'm doing 3 of my bugle beads, or 2 beads. I don't know what the difference is. And then 1 little seed bead. Except that I grabbed 2. Could even start with smaller beads and put your bugle. Oh, that's true too. Oh, but I like the 3 stack. I think that might be really interesting. Let's see what that looks like. Can you guys see? Let's see. I don't know if I can. Let me grab a piece of paper. So it's definitely taller. It is fiddly with the thread at the end. Wonder if 3 is too many. No, I think you kind of need that height, right? Can you even see it over here? All right, let me get a cluster of them, and then that might make it a little better. But boy, it's fiddly, isn't it? I had no idea it would be so fiddly to get that thread to come through the top seed bead. I can see potential for this. For all these, I've got this brown one. I've got this blackish one, and then I've got an old piece that was kind of in burgundy reds that I want to take off of its current framing and make all 3 of them look like they are underground, or coming up from the ground. So now, do I have to go through all 3 of the bugle beads, or is going through just 1? 3 probably is going to make it stand straighter, huh? And let's see if I can guide this thread so it's not so fiddly at the end. There we go. Oh, yeah. I like this. This is new. Go through all three. Okay. Thank goodness for beading needles, right? One, two, three. And then, so yeah, I can think, I've been trying to think of more things I can do with beads. I have so many beautiful, beautiful beads that I want to use more of. Oh, I guess there's a fourth. I have a green piece I want to sculpt as well. So, all right, so move the seed bead out of the way. Oh, it might be easier if I don't even have all three of those down at the bottom yet, huh? Then you can kind of see what you're going through. I'm amazed I'm able to do this. I took a Sudafed to help with a sinus headache, and it's definitely got me spacey. I don't know if this was a bad idea or not. That might have been a bad idea. We'll see. Hopefully not. All right. Nope, that's going to work. Better to keep. Yeah, I will do that next time. But I did make it work this time. Last night I was working on the yellow piece that I started going back to last week with the beads. So I am in bead mode on some things. Okay. Nice thing about bugle beads, they're big enough for these old clumsy fingers to pick up. All right, so I'm gonna let these guys go all the way down. And if I'd remembered, I would have turned on my spotlight, which would have made it a lot easier. Okay, but I'm gonna keep my seed beads separate right now while I go through the beads. Well, thank you, Sue and Julie, for helping me through this one. And then I'm gonna guide it. Phyllis said, this is so pretty, especially when you show it up close. What are the things that look like wild mushrooms? So I'm not sure what you mean. So these right here are just little circles of fabric that I have gathered and stuffed. This is just some twisted yarn. Then we've got some bullion knots that were twisted. And then we've got some drizzle stitches, some fringe. This is just a metal ring. Actually, no, it was a plastic curtain ring that I've wrapped. If you look at my old videos about encrusted embroidery, this was kind of coming off the ends of that, although I would definitely do encrusted embroidery differently now. And I'm thinking about starting another one of those, but probably not until I finish Open Studios. There's a lot of work to get done for Open Studios. I have a new little wildscape that's almost done. And then these guys are so close. Yeah, really, this is, yeah, giving me a little bit more vertical texture, which I really like. And I might have, I'll have to look tonight, but if I have some bugle beads in a different shade, then I can put those in there too. Whoops, almost forgot to go back through. And I do think this one is going to be called Unearthed, although I'm tempted to call the collection Unearthed. And give this a different name because I'll have multiple pieces in it. So I'll see how I feel when it's all done. I can give you the, sure, if this is, no, that's not going to work. I was going to try and come at the side, but that wasn't going to work. Oh, well. Yeah, little scraps of fabric are fun to gather. And of course, you could stitch on top of those first if you want. This is actually t-shirt material. Those two. This was part of an old pillow, leather pillow that my mother-in-law gave me. think a big fat cluster of these. And it either needs just one huge cluster or 3 clusters. I probably am going to do 3 just because, because as I said, on this piece, more is more. That's what we're going for. Yeah, so you could even do like 5 and get a really tall. I could see that. I would add more of some things, but a lot of this was also scrap browns, so I don't have any more of the yarns, which is really why I want to change my habits from working on 25 projects at once to maybe only working on 3 at once, because whoops, I've got 2. If you use up the stuff, or you use almost everything, and then you decide you want to expand a piece, then you got to figure out how to blend in new colors. Sue said, makes me want to reach through the screen and run my hand over the surface. It feels really interesting. And I think having this stuff on the outer edges as it forms the bottom, the sides and the bottom, I think is going to be good for bringing that feeling of the dirt in the outdoors. Have to be careful. I can think of like really some interesting ways to display stuff, but I need to be careful and not overdo it. Not doing more than I actually have the time or the energy for before Open Studios. More important to get more inventory done. And then I have to make the decision. I don't have, it's not like I have 100 paintings. I don't have a huge inventory, but there's the opportunity to have a piece on display at one of the local art leagues in Santa Cruz, and then another one down in Watsonville. And I have to decide, do I want to give up because they would stay on display through the entire Open Studios, which would be nice exposure for me, but it would reduce what I had. Whoops. This one's going to be a fit. Oh, no, good. Got it through. Forgot to put the seed bead on. Michelle said, yes, I want to touch this one. And all my work, I think, is very invites touch. Just fine, as long as you don't have chocolate or grease on your hands. All right, holding on to the seed bead as it glides it down helps. It's definitely good. Yeah, and then if you put a bead on top that had some big sparkle, that would be really neat too. All right, let's see. Where else might we want one of these? If I follow with my clusters of drizzles, I come over here. One, 2, 3. So today the painter came by to take a look at what the scope of the project was going to be. So it also tells me we're getting closer to the finish line. I mean, we still got probably another couple months worth of work here, but just to get done with the overhead stuff will be so much better. Yeah, I think another few more clusters, 3 or 5 more. I'm not sure how many, but cluster, I don't know. Sometimes I got to do a little bit and then go do something else and come back and look at it. Because we don't have Sandy today. I thought she would be lurking if she was working, but haven't seen her, or if she has her hands in glue and she hasn't said hello yet. And Tanya's been missing for a few weeks. I am going to have to send her a message and see what's happening with her. I hope she's okay. When I see the regulars not around, you start to get worried. When I asked her the other day about her speaking schedule, she seemed to be okay, but stuff changes. So you're right, she could be on the road. And I know she mods for Julie, so Michelle said, Susan, have you ever used burned fabric pieces in your projects? I haven't. I have singed the edges of some lace and some that I really liked the effects that it gave, trying to come up with something that looks like lichen. A lot of people like to paint Tyvek and burn it. I'm so worried most of the time about the smells that come off because I've become ultra sensitive now to that kind of stuff, but it would be really cool. I do have a really good respirator, but now this looks like a thread from before. I'm going to have to figure out how I can cover that. Looks like something didn't go down all the way in the past. Again, when you're working with dark colors with old eyes, it gets a little tough. I think I can get one more in with this. One, two. Terry said, I'm trying to think of words that are descriptive of these colors. I'm not getting past caramel. Yeah, it's kind of like an amber. Yeah. Barbara says, back in a minute, sandwich time. Yeah, I'm getting hungry for lunch too. And I had to bring a Kind bar over so that I could eat it in my next meeting. Looks like a big bowl of caramel candy. Oh, you guys, I'm not doing that much sugar. I had a chai today, and that's my sugar the next few days. Well, until Friday, when we're going to celebrate my husband's birthday. So there will be sugar. Okay, I need to tie this off. So we'll take it out of this hideous hoop holder. It's not the hoop holder's fine if I'm using my Nurge hoops, but the wooden hoops just never seem to hold well in it. Michelle said, Terry, I would just say gold tones and earthy. All right, now where was I? Oh, well, I have it off of there. I can see if I can show you better. So see, I've got much more texture right here now. Terry said, I keep seeing sunflowers for the encrusted rings. Oh, sunflowers, no, I'm not going to. This is literally something you just turned over the shovel. And this is what came out. Let's see if I do that as my, yeah, you're going to see me there. That's what it is in my head. We'll see where it lands. All right, I need more thread. So I could keep doing those. Yeah, I like that. Or what else do we have here? I think I'll just keep doing those. I'm going to look after the live. I will look for after the live and after my meeting. I'm going to look and see if I have some more bugle beads in a slightly different shade. I don't have as many bugle beads as I do everything else. Oh no, don't get the hiccups now. Hiccups in a live stream. That is not what I want. Thank goodness for needle threaders. Otherwise, I would never thread a beading needle. And a lot of people like the split needles. I seem to stab myself with the other end of the split needle. They're easy to thread, and then I stab myself all the time. So I stick with the regular beading needle. And yes, I cut my threads very long. And yes, sometimes it creates hassles. And yet I continue to do it because to me, it's worth the hassle. Henny Penny said, if I think of something just turned over with a shovel, it's a forest floor. Yeah, and that's sort of the feeling I'm going for, not using the phrase forest floor, but I want to figure out a name for it that that replicates, or not replicates, that evokes that feeling of the forest floor. Because I do think maybe the pieces, the sculptural pieces, need their own collection title. I was going to put them in the Wildscapes, but I think they might need their own title as collection, as Unearthed. So let's see, let's come over here. Oh, and I'm out of frame. So let's move. Sorry about that. I forgot. Sometimes you forget the camera's on. Let's see if my needle is up here. Nope, I'm just not able to see there. Okay, if I do it here, you guys can see. See a lot of loose threads that need to be taken over to the other side. I don't know what I was thinking of back then. All right, move that over a little. Yeah, maybe now I'm thinking 5 clusters. I think it's big enough it can handle 5 in this color. I have some really, really long, I think they're like the equivalent. I think one bead is like as long as 3 of these, but I think they're the color that would go on the black one, which is good. I think they're like a black and silver. All right, so we're getting the hang of this now, right? So how many of you enjoy adding beads to your projects? Everybody? Is there anybody, I guess I should say, does anybody not like working with using beads? Sometimes I don't like the process, but I always love the effect. Beads and and charms. Yeah, I used to be really into charms for the journals were wonderful. I do not have but a few charms. I've kept some of my favorites. And whoops. And the guys are at lunch, so it's quiet. Yay. So now I'm thinking about how you could stack lots of beads like this, not just the bugle beads. That explains how some of the effects I've seen. I don't know, Sue, how many days, she asked, how many days do I expect the rift to take? And, I forgot to ask, I'm going to ask the contractor before he goes home today. I know the painter said it was going to be about a week and a half to paint, and he's just painting the trim. I don't know how long the stucco will take and the brick. Barbara's back. I just told them I would, like to have a driveway that was mostly clear in October. And that seems like, it's so far away, except it's not really. Yeah, you really need to do this with good lighting. I think they should be quieter applications. Yeah, not having the stuff overhead should also help poor Tally, who's been an absolute trooper through all of this. She's not a fan of having these things happening overhead, but at least when they go home at night, and she knows it's all done, she's fine. She goes back to being her happy self. They have to, the siding, before they do the stucco, there's more siding prep stuff that has to go up that will have more insulation in the walls. Oh, and then the insulation guy needs to come. Somehow I think that's going to be noisy. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I think that'll be noisy because it's blown in. But maybe it's fast. One of our neighbors the other day asked us if we were putting on a second story because, it's so much work. And it's like, nope. But the overhangs are worth it because it's not just an overhang. They're beautiful shaded areas. And now outside every door that we might want to sit and enjoy the outside, we have a beautiful shaded overhang. Patio furniture is in our future. And if there's anything left in the budget, we can have a little shade structure built down below. Henny Penny said, I like the effect of beads too. A cluster of beads give the eye a place to rest for a moment. Does that make sense? Yeah, in the same way as having empty space, which there's not a lot on here, especially that you can see. Let's see, I don't even know where my finger is. So, oh, you can't see it here because I've got it. So like if you have a space that has nothing, that's also a place for the eye to rest. And that's often something that's advised, when you're doing your composition is, leave a place for the eye to rest. Where's your eye going to move around the piece? But as a sculptural piece, if I'm thinking this is something you're going to hold in your hands, I think the all over texture is going to make it really interesting. I love that the guys are out there having their lunch in the shade now because it's been hot lately, and I guess it's going to get hotter, more hot. Has it been hot over at your place, Michelle? We have to go to Los Gatos on Friday, so hopefully it won't be too much hotter. Oh, Sue, I'm jealous. She said we had some welcome rain today. Wow. Yeah, I think it'll probably be November before we have any of that. Please don't let it rain on Open Studios because that's definitely going to keep people from coming out. Plus, I'd like to set up some tables and chairs outside for people to hang out, visit, work on the community project that I'm going to have. Didn't have to go out and water the plants on the deck. Nice. All right, I'm going to do a couple more. And then like I said at the beginning, I do need to leave early to get to another meeting. Michelle said, yes, I like it about 70 all the time. I don't like it humid either. Yeah. Yeah, Sue, our one of our local shops, kind of gift shop, artsy places in downtown Santa Cruz, every February they do a thing where it's hearts for the arts. And so people make heart inspired art. So it's got to have a heart on it somewhere or be a heart of some kind. And they donate it. And then the money, as they sell, the money that's made from that goes to the arts in the schools in our area. And so I thought rather than making something myself, what I would do is have a big heart on a hoop with a lot of variety of threads and fibers, and people could put their stitches in it while they're here for Open Studios. And then, I'll frame it and donate it. And that would be something for the fundraiser. All right, so some of mine are a little crooked. I'm going to picture that the animals came along and stomped on it. chomped on it, something like that. Yeah, I was going to just do a small one myself, and I've got a small heart started, and I thought, well, I'll finish mine so it's an example. I'm doing mine, of course, just with French knots, but I figure as a community project, people, if they just want to do a few seed stitches or something, that way it's something that the whole community that's come to Open Studios has participated in. And hearts are not a motif that I normally work with. So this way I've got something that I can share, but it's not just me working on a heart, because the one I'm working on is just a small one, because like I said, it's just not my thing. But for a community project, I think it'll be good. Yeah, and then people that maybe aren't sure if they like the idea of stitch, it gives them a chance to experiment, or they're like, I meet a lot of people that have never stitched with yarn. So if I have a lot of my yarn out that I like to use, and they can experiment with that and see how much fun that is. And then I've been brainstorming. I don't have a decision yet, but I've been brainstorming some titles that would get the community aspect into the title of the piece. Whoops. One more seed bead on the floor. All right. Well, we're missing Joanne today, too. A lot of our folks are gone missing. Whoops. Don't get it caught around the other ones. Thank you, Sue. I was just looking at that and saying this will probably be my last one. All right. So take it off. Oh, I know what I can do. Let me move it back to here, and I'll take it off. And this is where I'm at. So I'm going to add more of this all the way around, and then more of my vertical texture. All right, folks, sorry to have to cut it short today, but I look forward to seeing everybody again next week. Sue says we've been quiet, but it's still been a good time with friends. I'm glad, and I'm always glad to be here with you guys too. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.